What if I told you the most explosive audio leak of the year just dropped uncensored, unfiltered, and never meant to hit the public ear? That's right. Jim Jones, still reeling from Chrissy's shocking wedding reveal, didn't just storm backstage and stay quiet. Oh no, the cameras may have stopped rolling for the audience, but the microphones, they never turned off. And now the raw truth, the rage, the heartbreak, and the fury has spilled online, setting the internet ablaze. In this leaked audio, Jim Jones doesn't hold back. He calls out Chrissy's husband by name. He drags him through the mud. He unleashes years of pent-up betrayal, jealousy, and regret. And it's all captured in a recording so raw that insiders are calling it career suicide if it ever airs in full. But the clip has already escaped. Fans are replaying it. Blogs are dissecting it. Twitter is on fire. Was this the meltdown everyone feared? Or was it the moment Jim finally told the truth that producers have been trying to bury for years? And here's the kicker: Chrissy's husband, the man at the center of this chaos, may not be the innocent new beginning she painted him to be. Sources say he's hiding secrets that could flip this entire narrative upside down. Just reality TV anymore? This is real life spiraling in real time. And once you hear what Jim said in that leaked audio, you'll never look at Chrissy or her new marriage the same way again. The internet is still reeling, and I mean reeling, from what insiders are calling the most shocking mic leak in reality television history. Picture this. The stage lights dim. The set clears out after Chrissy's bombshell wedding reveal, and Jim Jones walks off without saying much to the cameras. He looked calm, almost too calm. Fans thought he had swallowed the moment, maybe even accepted it. But what they didn't know, what no one was supposed to know, is that his mic was still live. And in the shadows of that backstage hallway, Jim Jones exploded with a kind of unfiltered raw rage that producers have spent over a decade trying to keep under wraps. And now that audio has leaked. 14 seconds of pure venom has already gone viral, and sources say the full clip is nearly 5 minutes long. 5 minutes that could destroy reputations, friendships, and even Chrissy's brand new marriage. It starts with Jim pacing. You can hear his boots scrape the floor. Heavy, uneven steps like a man carrying the weight of betrayal. His voice is low at first, muttering to himself. Then it cracks, louder, harsher. She really married that clown. That's the dude. That's who she chose over me. The pain is unmistakable. But then it shifts. The audio captures something darker. Jim doesn't just question Chrissy's decision, he goes for the jugular. He starts tearing into her husband, describing him in brutal, mocking detail, calling him a background character trying to wear my crown. A man built on brunch dates and borrowed swagger. That line alone set Twitter on fire. Fans replayed it, memed it, slowed it down. But that wasn't even the worst of it. According to insider leaks from the production room, Jim's rant goes way beyond bruised pride. He starts dropping names of industry connections, whispered secrets about Chrissy's new husband's past, and hints at a history that the public was never supposed to piece together. He'd been around, Jim says in the leaked snippet. He'd been circling. Always. In the cut, waiting on me to slip. And she knew it. She let him linger. She let him close. Do you understand how explosive that is? If what Jim's saying is true, this isn't some whirlwind romance Chrissy suddenly sprung on the world. This might be a betrayal years in the making, a hidden storyline producers deliberately kept off camera. And here's where it gets even juicier. Within hours of the leak, anonymous sources claiming to be close to the cast began sliding into DMs with receipts. Screenshots of old photos, blurry backgrounds from Love and Hip Hop tapings, supposed sightings of Chrissy and this mystery man long before the wedding reveal. One fan pulled up a 2014 reunion episode freeze frame where a man in the audience looked eerily similar to the husband in question. Another unearthed Instagram comments from a burner account linked back to him, leaving cryptic fire emojis under Chrissy's posts years ago. Suddenly, the internet had a theory. Had this man been watching, waiting, and plotting his way into Chrissy's life the whole time? And if that's true, did Jim know? Did he suspect? And is this why his rant backstage hit so personal, so bitter? The clip doesn't stop at insults. Jim reportedly goes into a full-blown meltdown, alternating between rage and heartbreak. At one point, his voice drops, almost breaking, as he says, "After all I gave her, after all I built, she went and tied herself to him. Worth. That's what my loyalty buys me. It's not just anger, it's devastation. The kind of devastation that comes when someone who always thought he'd have the last word suddenly realizes he doesn't. And fans heard it. They felt it." One comment that went viral on Twitter summed it up perfectly. "That ain't Jim the rapper, that's Jimmy the man hurt, bitter, and broken." But just when listeners thought the clip had reached its emotional peak, Jim's tone turned lethal. He stopped pacing. You can hear the silence, the pause. And then, "I know things about him. Things she don't know. Things she don't want to know." That's the cliffhanger that's got the entire culture shook. Producers are panicking. According to 2 leaks from inside VH1's editing suite, there was an emergency meeting within an hour of the audio surfacing. Executives are terrified the full recording will drop. Why? Because if Jim really has dirt on Chrissy's husband, and if he aired it in that backstage rant, this isn't just reality TV drama anymore. This is scandal. This is reputation destruction. And yet, the more they scramble to contain it, the more the internet digs. Hashtags like #Chris, SYS husband, and #JimLeak are trending worldwide. TikTok edits are looping his voice over slow cinematic music. Even celebrities are weighing in. Remy Ma posted a cryptic tweet. "Mic's always on. That's why I stay ready." Cardi B dropped a laughing emoji under a blog post about the leak. Even 50 Cent never won to Miss Messy. Drama allegedly posted and deleted a meme about Jim auditioning for Love and Hip Hop, Heartbreak Edition. But the reactions weren't all laughs. Chrissy, who had been silent since her wedding reveal, finally made a move. Fans noticed she unfollowed Jim within hours of the audio hitting the blogs. She also posted a photo of her hand, flashing the wedding ring, with the caption, "Solid, where it matters." Subtle, but loaded. Was that a clapback? A warning? Or a declaration that no matter what Jim says, she's not looking back? Meanwhile, insiders claim Chrissy's husband, who's still somewhat of a mystery to the public, was furious when he heard the leak. One anonymous source close to production spilled that he confronted producers immediately, demanding they clean this up before it spirals further. But let's be real, the genie's out of the bottle. This story isn't going anywhere, and here's the most disturbing part. According to an insider who swears they've heard the full 5-minute recording, Jim didn't just insult Chrissy's husband. Kay allegedly accused him of betrayal, of double-crossing, of moves that go beyond relationships and into money, business, and street loyalty. "He don't just want her, you want my seat," Jim reportedly said. If that line ever leaks in full, it won't just be a scandal, it could spark a feud that spills far beyond Love and Hip Hop by the end of the leaked snippet. Jim's breathing hard, muttering under his breath, and then storming off. I can hear the door slam. You can hear crew members whispering in the background, one even saying, "Is his mic still on? Okay." And that's where the clip cuts. But the damage, already done. The internet is convinced we've only heard the beginning. And if the rest leaks, Chrissy's marriage, Jim's career, and even the show itself might never recover. And that's where we leave part 1, with a single unanswered question echoing louder than the leak itself. What else did Jim Jones say when the camera stopped rolling, but the mic was still hot? The morning after the audio leaked, the entire internet looked like a battlefield. Comment sections were lit up like wildfires. Twitter threads stretched into hundreds of posts. TikTok creators were lip-syncing Jim's words with dramatic reenactments. And blogs were refreshing their feeds every hour with new insider updates. What was supposed to be a private meltdown had mutated into a public trial, and Chrissy's new husband was already at the center of it. The world wasn't just laughing at Jim's heartbreak, they were digging into the man who supposedly stole the woman he once called his. Fans started to play detective. They pulled old reunion clips, party photos, and grainy paparazzi shots, slowing down footage, zooming into backgrounds, and analyzing side profiles. And then boom, a blurry but undeniable still shot surfaced from a 2015 LHHNY after-party. Chrissy is standing front and center with Emily B., but in the far background, nearly cropped out, stands a man in a white button-up and low Caesar cut. That man looks strikingly similar to the husband who had suddenly appeared in Chrissy's life. Fans froze the frame, circled his face. And the hashtag he was always there, and hashtag Chris SYS shadow started trending. But if that wasn't enough to set the culture ablaze, the blogs poured gasoline on the fire. A well-known gossip site posted what they claimed were DMs from an anonymous cousin of Jim's. The message was blunt. "We all knew she stayed in contact with him. Jimmy just thought it was nothing. Guess not." That one leak flipped the narrative. Up until then, fans had been laughing at Jim's vulnerability, clowning him for finally facing consequences after years of stringing Chrissy along. But now people were asking a different question. Was this a betrayal plotted under his nose the whole time? Jim's audio suddenly had context. When he screamed he'd been circling, waiting on me to slip, fans started to believe him. The internet loves receipts, and the receipts were starting to pile up. Screenshots surfaced of Chrissy's supposed husband leaving fire emojis under her pictures from burner accounts, dating all the way back to 2018. And if that wasn't enough, an old interview clip resurfaced where Chrissy casually mentioned an old friend who always supported her when others didn't. Fans froze the frame, slowed it down, and swore the voice that laughed in the background matched the mystery. Husbands. Meanwhile, Chrissy kept quiet, too quiet. Her silence became its own kind of statement. While Jim was unraveling, posting cryptic lives and muttering about betrayal, Chrissy posted nothing but curated.com images. Her ring hand, a shot of champagne, a caption that read, "Peace is priceless." Fans were divided. Half praised her composure, saying she had finally chosen herself and was done playing victim. The other half accused her of manipulation, of smiling through a betrayal she planned. The culture was split. And that split only fueled the chaos, and then came the next bombshell: more audio. Late that night, another clip leaked. This one longer, sharper, and even more devastating. Jim's voice, low but deadly serious, saying, "She think he can protect her. He can't even protect himself. I know where he's from. I know what he's done. She playing with a man who got skeletons louder than mine." That line hit like a gunshot. Within minutes, theories exploded. What did Jim mean? Did Chrissy's new husband have a past the world hadn't seen? Was this just bitter jealousy? Or was Jim hinting at a secret that could wreck her new marriage? Before it even started, one anonymous production assistant slid into a Gossip Page's inbox and claimed they'd heard the uncut audio. According to them, Jim hinted that Chrissy's husband wasn't just an old friend. He had ties to business deals, street money, and loyalties that blurred the line between personal and professional. The insider wrote, if VH1 ever aired, that lawsuits would fly. It makes him look dirty. It makes it look worse. At this point, Twitter was a war zone. Fans weren't just gossiping, they were arguing like lawyers in a courtroom. Hashtag Team Jim believers claimed Chrissy had played him dirty, sneaking behind his back with a man he once considered part of his circle. Hashtag Team Chrissy supporters shot back. That Jim was bitter, jealous, and rewriting history to ease his wounded ego. And then there were the neutral fans, the ones who just sat back with popcorn. Posting memes and writing. Love and hip-hop don't need scripts anymore. These people write themselves. But the story refused to stop there. Celebrities started chiming in. 50 Cent, always the chaos starter, reposted a meme of Jim looking broken, with the caption, "This what happens when you play house too long. Somebody else moves in?" That post alone racked up over 500,000 likes before being deleted. Remy Ma went live and, without naming names, said, "Ladies, don't let no man waste your years. But also, don't let your peace turn into payback." That's a dangerous game. Fans immediately linked her words to Chrissy. Cardi B laughed on Twitter, tweeting, "Mic's always on, y'all better whisper in sign language." Even Fat Joe posted a cryptic Instagram story, "Sometimes loyalty don't pay the bills. But betrayal don't build a future either." Every post, every reaction, every meme poured fuel on the fire. Jim wasn't just fighting Chrissy anymore. He was fighting the entire narrative of his legacy. For over a decade, Jim and Chrissy were the blueprint, couple of love and hip-hop, flawed, messy, passionate, but real. Now, overnight, that blueprint had been torn up and set on fire, replaced with a storyline that made him look abandoned and bitter. And her look powerful but possibly conniving. Behind the scenes, producers were in full crisis mode, according to a leaked email chain that mysteriously hit the blogs. The network debated whether to release the full audio or bury it forever. One exec allegedly wrote, "This is dynamite. Ratings gold. But if the husband sues, we're finished." Another replied, "We don't need the full clip. The fans are already making their own conclusions. Let the chaos feed itself." That right there is the dirty truth of reality TV. Sometimes the producers don't need to manipulate the story. The leaks do all the work. But here's where things got scarier. Jim Jones himself broke his silence in a 6-minute Instagram Live. His face looked puffy, his eyes bloodshot, and his words, they were haunting. "I wasn't perfect, but I was real, and she knows that. What y'all hearing ain't me acting for cameras. That's me realizing the person I trusted most." She already had a plan B and maybe a plan C. His voice cracked, and then he leaned forward, staring into the camera, and "Tell him I know who he is. I know what he's done. And I ain't scared to talk about it if I have to." Boom. That one sentence sent the internet into another meltdown. Was Jim threatening Chrissy's husband? Was he about to expose him? Or was this just the heartbreak of a man finally breaking on camera? By the end of the live, fans weren't laughing anymore. They were scared. Scared of what might come next. Because when heartbreak, betrayal, and pride collide in the world of hip-hop, words can turn into actions real quick. And the culture knew it. Blogs started warning. This isn't just TV drama anymore. This feels personal. Dangerous personal. And as the dust settled, one last leak dropped a text screenshot allegedly from Chrissy herself to a close friend. He can rant all he wants. He can leak all he wants. At the end of the day, I'm not his anymore. And that's killing him. More than anything, he said. And with that, the cliffhanger was set. Jim's audio hinted at secrets still buried. Chrissy's silence hinted at defiance. And Chrissy's husband, he hadn't spoken yet. But insiders say he's about to, and when he does, the truth could burn everything down. So the question left, hanging in part 2, is simple but deadly. What is Chrissy's new husband hiding, and will Jim Jones be the one to drag it into the light? By the time the sun rose the next morning, it wasn't just Jim Jones or Chrissy trending, it was him, Chrissy's mysterious new husband. The man who had somehow gone from shadowy background figure to front-page scandal overnight was now the internet's main obsession. The memes had flipped. It wasn't just hashtag Team Chrissy versus hashtag Team Jim. Anymore, it was hashtag Who is he? And hashtag Expose the husband. And when the internet decides it wants answers, it doesn't stop digging until bones turn to dust. The first domino fell when a grainy cell phone video surfaced from backstage after Chrissy's wedding reveal. The clip showed Jim storming down a hallway, voice raised, eyes blazing. Off camera, a man can be heard saying, "She's my wife now. Respect it." That's when Jim's voice hit like thunder. "Wife, you ain't nothing but my understudy. You've been waiting years to step into shoes you can't fill." The crowd gasped. Even with no clear footage of the husband, that single line detonated across social media. Fans clipped it, subtitled it, slowed it down. Everyone wanted to hear Jim's rage in full. But then came the real grenade, the uncut, leaked audio. In this version, Jim's words were sharper, darker, dripping with venom. "You ain't her savior. You ain't her protector. You just the rebound that waited too long in the wings. And you better pray I don't tell people what you really are. You think they clown me now? Wait till they find out about you." That wasn't heartbreak anymore. That was threat. Blogs lit up with headlines. Jim Jones accuses Chrissy's husband of hiding dark past, leaked audio suggests. Betrayal within Jim's inner circle, from love triangle to war. Jim V's Chrissy's husband, and while Chrissy stayed silent, her husband finally broke his. Late that night, Instagram Live appeared under his account, short, blurry, clearly filmed in the heat of chaos. His words were defensive, cocky, but his eyes betrayed nerves. "I ain't here to play games with the past," he said, looking straight into the camera. "She's my wife now. Period." Jim had his chance, 15 years of it. And if you want to keep crying into microphones, let him. But don't ever think I'm scared of what he got to say. My hands clean, my life clean. She chose me because I'm peace and he was chaos. At first, fans applauded. Finally, the husband had spoken. But almost instantly, skeptics flooded the comments. "Peace. Then why are you sweating bullets, bro?" one wrote. Another added, "If your life clean, why Jim?" Saying he got dirt on you? The live ended abruptly after just 6 minutes, with the husband logging off mid-sentence as the comments spiraled into thousands of accusations. That shaky performance did nothing to quiet the storm. If anything, it poured gasoline on it. Within hours, Twitter detectives unearthed old photos of the husband at parties tied to Dipset affiliates. Then came allegations of business deals that weren't as clean as he claimed. The narrative shifted once again. Maybe Jim wasn't just bitter. Maybe he was right. Meanwhile, producers at VH1 were panicking. Anonymous leaks revealed emergency. Meetings were held to decide whether to pull future footage involving Chrissy and her husband. According to one insider, the fear wasn't just bad PR, it was liability. If Jim really exposes him and it's true, the insider claimed, VH1 could get dragged for knowingly airing a fraud. Others argued that the scandal was ratings gold. "This is bigger than a storyline," one exec allegedly said. "This is a cultural moment. We can't afford not to air it." But the chaos refused to stay confined to television. In Atlanta, reports surfaced of Jim and Chrissy's husband nearly crossing paths at an industry party. Paparazzi photos showed Jim entering the venue around 10 p.m., only to leave 10 minutes later with a scowl. Eyewitnesses swore they saw him whisper something to security before storming out. He said, "If he steps to me tonight, cameras won't save him," one source claimed. Though unverified, that, quote, spread like wildfire, further cementing the feud as more than just TV drama. And then, the most devastating leak yet hit the internet. An anonymous account uploaded what they claimed was a private voicemail Jim left on a mutual friend's phone. In the message, Jim's voice was heavy, almost broken. "She was my life," he muttered. "I don't care about the cameras, I don't care about the memes. But you don't let another man wear your crown while you're still breathing. That's a violation." The voicemail cut off abruptly, but its impact was nuclear. Fans dissected every word, interpreting it as either poetic heartbreak or a veiled threat of violence. By now, the cultural debate wasn't just about who was right or wrong. It was about what would happen next. Would Jim really expose the husband's alleged secrets? Would Chrissy finally break her silence and defend her marriage? Or would the feud boil over into something no producer could script and no camera crew could contain? Celebrities kept piling in. Funk Flex went on radio and blasted the husband as a clown hiding in the shadows. The Breakfast Club dedicated an entire segment to the feud, with Charlemagne calling it the most love and hip-hop thing that ever love and hip-hopped. Even mainstream outlets like TMZ and Rolling Stone picked it up, framing it as hip-hop's most dramatic love triangle since Offset and Cardi. But nothing could prepare fans for the cliffhanger that exploded at week's end. A major gossip page posted screenshots of alleged emails between Chrissy's husband and a well-known Atlanta promoter. The emails hinted at money transfers, unreported deals, and an ominous line: "Keep this quiet or Jimmy will know." Whether real or fabricated, the screenshots spread like wildfire. Within hours, #ReceiptGate was trending. Jim reposted one of the screenshots to his Instagram story with a single caption: "Told y'all." That was it. No further explanation, no denial. Just those words, and it shook the culture to its core. Now, the narrative had flipped again. Was Chrissy's husband hiding something criminal? Was this the bombshell Jim had been hinting at in the leaked audio? And if it was true, how much did Chrissy know? The internet was left with more questions than answers, and the tension had reached a boiling point. Fans weren't just invested, they were obsessed. Theories flew, alliances shifted, and producers reportedly rushed to schedule an emergency sit-down between Jim, Chrissy, and her husband. But insiders whispered that Jim wasn't waiting for cameras anymore. According to one source close to him, he was planning to hold a press conference or worse, drop another diss track that would expose everything he knew. "He ain't gonna let this slide," the insider said. And when he talks next, it won't just be shade. It'll be names, dates, and bodies. And with that chilling possibility, Part 3 ended on the most explosive cliffhanger yet. The world doesn't just want to know if Chrissy's marriage can survive, wants to know if Jim Jones is about to destroy it with one final, devastating revelation. And now we've reached the point where the smoke is thick. The voices are loud, and the truth is still dangling in the air like a secret nobody's supposed to know. The leaked audio wasn't just Jim Jones venting. It was a crack in the armor. A glimpse into a world of betrayal, legacy, and dangerous truths that could collapse everything Chrissy thought she built. But here's the kicker. This story is only halfway done. New receipts are surfacing. Insiders are whispering about things even the producers are scared to air, and Chrissy's silence. That silence is louder than any diss track Jim could ever drop. So here's my question for you. Whose side are you on? Are you standing with Jim, the wounded king lashing out in fury? Or